Hello, folks. Welcome to our May program meeting. We're happy to see so many folks out. I was thinking with the beautiful spring weather we're having, we might not have too many people, but since it's raining, you can't be out in the garden, right? So we're happy to see you come out tonight to join us for this fun program we're going to have on butterflies. And my name's Mava. I'm the president of Lane County Audubon Society. I'm just happy to see folks out. The only kind of brief announcement I had is Barb Bryson, who's been sort of spearheading our Habitat Haven program, couldn't be here tonight. And she wanted me to let you know that they are scheduling site visits for the month of June. They already have over 20 homes. Are you on the list? Who've signed up. So those are rolling along. And she does have a team of volunteers who are planning to participate in the site visits, but she's also looking for more volunteers. If any of you are comfortable with native plants, I know Ev's here, who's one of the volunteers, and they have a good system in place. They're going to go out with 2 at a time going into visit people's properties. So if you want to volunteer and help her and the group, feel free to call her. Her number's in the quote. So that was my only thing, is to just let you know that program is up and running and gathering a good head of steam. So we're happy about that. I'll let Dennis begin introducing the program for tonight. Thanks for coming.
Well, hi, everyone. Whoa, I think our speaker is louder than normal, isn't it?
It seems like.
Yeah, so we don't have to get too close to this, I think. Yeah. First, I want to tell you a little bit about what's coming up. This is sort of the end of our season. We are sort of on the school year program, so we go from September to May. And so our next program is going to be in September. And we've got some really great programs coming up, so I want to tell you a little bit about them. In September, we're going to have Forrest Tomlinson, who is a birder around here and a great photographer. And his program is called An Endemic Wonderland, and it's all about his trip to Colombia. He went to northern Colombia, Santa Marta, the northern coast, and down to Medellin, and into the, I think, Las Tangeras Park, and fantastic. And he is an amazing speaker too. He's different than some others. He'll have some surprises for you. So look for that in September. Then in October, we're going to have Ram Papish and Roy Lowe. And Ram, this will be his 6th program, I think, for us. And again, another guy who's just fantastic storyteller, photographer, and everything. And he always has interesting programs. I can't tell you what this one's about because I don't know, but I'll tell you the title. It's called Pet Thieving Our Way Through Paradise. Yeah, you can guess what that is. I have only guessed too, but he's going to be great. So that'll be in October. Then in November, another amazing program. This is going to be John Sullivan and his trip to Bolivia. And this was a very unusual trip. He went there with Rich Hoyer and his wife and a big professional herpetologist. And they were studying all kinds of things besides some birds. So he names his thing Bolivia, Birds, Bugs, and Boas. And I've seen some of his photographs, and they're just fantastic. So those will be our 3 programs that we'll have coming in the fall. So be sure to mark your calendar for those. Those will be a lot of fun. So tonight too is going to be a lot of fun. I met Sue Anderson, I'm not sure, maybe a couple of years ago, and she was talking about butterflies, and we were out, I think, in West Eugene somewhere, and I was learning all kinds of stuff. And then I also went to a meeting that she gave a talk at Boggs, that I think it was about a year ago, maybe even a little more. And I said, we got to get Sue to come and do a program here. And I wanted it at this time of the year because this is when the butterflies are starting to come out and you're able to see them. Some of the things she says are just great. She says she's loved butterflies ever since she was knee-high to a grasshopper. I remember that, those kind of phrases. That's great. And then she says, butterflies are beautiful and they don't bite. Another good thing about these wonderful creatures. And, you know, just the fact that she named the program tonight, Winged Flowers, gives you a little sense about what she's like. She's also done a lot of real professional things too. I mean, she's led July butterfly counts, similar to our Christmas bird counts, in Central Oregon for over 38 years. She's taught adult education classes, and she's had led numerous butterfly outings. She's also spoken in several places around town here too, so she's not just a new speaker. But this is her first time here speaking to our Audubon Society. So let's give her a nice warm welcome. Sue?
Okay. So my favorite day in the field goes like this. It's a nice sunny day. I put on my birding hat and I go looking for birds, probably 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't bring my binoculars. What the heck?
You do need to get a little closer to the microphone though.
A loudmouth like me?
Yeah.
So I go birding for a couple of hours. Then when it starts getting warm and I see little wings flying around me, I take my binoculars and bring them down a little bit, take off this hat, put on my butterflying hat, and I do butterflies till about 4 or so in the afternoon when they start to wane and the birds are just coming back on. And then I take off my butterfly hat, put on my bring my binoculars up and finish off the day. That is a happy day for me. So I'm one of you. So I've been a birder for a long, long time. And as a matter of fact, and Jan can verify this, my husband and I started the Central Oregon Audubon Club, which is now ECAS, East Cascades Audubon Society, but we were Central Oregon Audubon for a number of years. And I'd like to, because I've added this rich dimension of butterflies to my day, I kind of like to do this program to kind of entice you, you know, your day is very rich when you can add another species to it. And there's plenty of butterflies out there. And there's things you can do with butterflies that you can't do with birds. You can hold them in your hand. You can't go out on a day like this. You're not going to see any. And butterflying in winter is kind of tough too, but unless you take a trip down to Arizona. So, but hopefully after this program, you'll kind of get a feel for just this is just an introductory program. You'll get a feel for what it's like to be out chasing butterflies all day long, and maybe you'll want to join us. Well, I'd like to start with a butterfly. Obviously, this is a butterfly. And there's a story that goes with it. So I was driving down a street in Bend. We lived in Sisters for 48 years, 32 years. And we drove a 72 Chevy Suburban. And so I was driving, 3 kids in the back. I was driving down this road, and you know how it is like when you're out birding, say for raptors, and you start watching all the poles. Well, for butterflies, I saw this movement over in front of somebody's house. And I slowed down, I looked over there, and I said to my oldest son, "Hey, Rue, you see that swallowtail over there by that bush?" He said, "Yeah, Mom, I see it." I said, "There's no nectar flowers on that bush. She's laying eggs. I just bet you she's laying eggs." I said, "Go see if you can find any." So a 72 Suburban only has 3 doors. He was on the side that didn't have a door. So he rolled down his window real quick. I said, "Don't take your eyes off it." And he jumped out the window, ran across the street, looked at the bush. I thought, "Oh, nobody be home, please, nobody be home." And he found it. He found one of the leaves that had an egg on it, and he brought it home. This is it. And then pretty soon, within a couple of weeks, out came this little caterpillar, which looks like a bird dropping, and started feeding. Of course, I had to find out what that bush was and go find more of the same plant to feed the caterpillar. Then it turned into this. How do I get those little, how do I get that to hold on the street? I don't know, but that's very clever. Turned into this chrysalis, and out popped it's another couple of weeks. And so that was quite a thrill. They're called Lepidoptera, butterflies and moths, because they have scaly wings. That's what Lepidoptera means. And a close-up look, you can see all the scales on the wings there. They have over 100,000 scales, like a swallowtail like this, on their wings, if you can imagine. And we get asked all the time, what's the difference between a butterfly and a moth? Well, moths often have feathery antennae like this, or their antenna come to a point. But butterflies have a club antenna, kind of looks like a hockey stick. That's one way to tell. And moths make cocoons. Actually, inside the cocoon is a chrysalis. But the butterflies just have the naked chrysalis like this. That's another way. Moths often fly during the night. Not all of them, some of them. Ceanothus moths are out right now. You may have seen some up against your screen door, whatever, Ceanothus moths. And this is the day-flying moth, which, when you first see it, you think, wow, what a beautiful butterfly. Wait a minute, look at those antennae. Okay, it's a moth. And when it flies, you think it's a butterfly. Beautiful creature. Many of you have seen the cinnabar moth around here. An import. We are on one of the counts, and speaking of that sheep moth, one of the gals found one laying eggs. And I was inches away from her taking pictures. And she just kept laying the eggs. She said, I got to get this job done, no matter what's going on out there. But that was pretty cool to find. So what I'm going to do right now is just take you through the groups of butterflies, and we're and most, but not all, of the photos here are butterflies found in Lane County. Some of them are outside of Lane County, but they represented the species so well that I put them in anyway, the group so well. So the skippers, I haven't catch this guy in mid-leap. You see why they call them skippers. They're small, most of them are small, and many of them have bent antennas at the end, and they fly like little TIE fighters. And the wings, see, they have a cantilever wings there. This is one of the larger ones, the Juba skipper. And some are spread wing skippers, though, and they land with their wings out. This Proteus, his dusky wing skipper, that picture was taken up on Mount Pisgah, I think on a walk with Dennis in one of the wet areas. Checkered skipper. You see how the bent antenna on that one? These are all about nickel size, maybe some of them a little bit bigger. And this one is the largest of the skippers around here and has a beautiful orange and a great big silver spot on the hind wings. So what do you think the name of this skipper would be? Somebody shout it out. Silver spotted skipper. See how easy this is? See, you already know how to name the skippers. Okay, so the next group is the swallowtails. Of course, they're the kind of the vanguards of the butterfly world. And I haven't seen the western tigers flying around Eugene yet. It's still not quite warm, but I expect them out in the next 2 weeks. They come in, they're in your backyards, on the Sweet Williams. They're just about everywhere. The two tails we don't have around here. Notice that that's feeding on milkweed, by the way. You'll notice that in a lot of these photos. We'll come back to that later on. But this is the two-tailed tiger, and a lot thinner stripes, a little bit bigger than the western. And two tails. Pale tigers are up high in the mountains, most of them. Pale because they are pale. You'll get the hang of this. This pale tiger had his whole head stuffed up inside that columbine. He just had to get up in there. And usually they don't land on flowers like that because they're too hard to hold on to and to get into. But boy, we decided to do it. Some swallowtails do not have tiger stripes or tails. And Annie's is typical of those. They like to feed on the dill, anything in the dill family. So this Parnassians are also in the swallowtail group, but they don't have stripes or tails or anything, but they're first cousins. And we only have two in Oregon. One is the Clodius around here, and then the other one in the mountain Parnassian is further south. So, okay, next group is whites and sulfurs. Whites because they are white. Sulfurs because they are yellow. There we go. So you're becoming experts already. Western whites are pretty common. What's really nice about whites, when you get them up close and turn them over, look what's on the ventral side. Close up. Wow, you would never think of that, seeing those whites flying around. If they're a Becker's white, they're going to look like this underneath. What is the purpose of that? Beats me. You know, that it all has a purpose, a lot of which we haven't discovered yet. So why they have this veining highlighted like this and the green on it, it's either a camouflage something or other, or a way to hide, a way to attract a female. I don't know, but the females look just the same underneath. So who knows? Who knows? This is the Becker's white caterpillar, which feeds on mustard. Let's see if I can go backwards. Yeah, we were talking about pine white, and then this little Julia orange tip. It used to be Sarah's orange tip. There's a male, one of the first butterflies that come out in the spring. See the little guys flying around. What gardener doesn't know this butterfly? If you're growing cabbages or broccoli or anything like that, they will lay their eggs on there, and they're green eggs, and they disappear right into the plant. So you almost have to cover them up. So far, of course, we're yellow. And one like this, if you never opens its wings when it lands, but if it did, if you could see it, it's a beautiful apricot orange inside. But not all sulfurs are like that. Some are kind of paler, larger, have green scaling on the hind wing. And don't you love the name? The next group after the whites and the sulfurs will be the gossamer wing butterflies. And maybe some of you older women like me remember what gossamer is. There's a real shimmery, shiny material. And this group, the small butterflies, the largest maybe would spread out to a quarter. And all of them have beautiful, most of them have beautiful colors on their wings. Red coppers are not around here. They're over on the east side of the mountains. But gorgeous color. Here's two coppers, a tail copper and a ruddy on some horsebrush, purplish copper, this female. Now, we're just very fortunate here in Eugene to have a remnant population of these great coppers. And they're down at Stewart Pond. And you can, when it's dried up and you walk out in Stewart Pond, you find the kind of these areas that are drier and have some hard pan in it. Take a look and you'll find the great coppers down there. If you're not sure exactly where to go, you can ask Rick. He'll take you there. He's the one that showed me this one. Wow. And you think we're going into blues now? Not quite yet. No, this butterfly, when you see it, will knock your socks off. Look at that color. It's a blue copper. So it's a copper masquerading as a blue. And beautiful veins. And just, I didn't enhance that photo, by the way. That's what they look like. They're really gorgeous. Echo blues are out flying right now. You can tell those because they have that little zigzag on the hind wing there. And blues, we've got a lot. We have a lot of blues. This is not a blue. but she's photographing some blues, and that's my granddaughter. And here's the picture she took. Oh my. Now, blues, if any of you have been hiking on wet trails, you'll see blues congregate in little kind of puddle groups like this. There's 2 or 3 species in here. And this actually is a video that's not going to play of the blues when you spook them up when you're walking along the path and they fly all around you. That's what that is. But we couldn't get the videos to work. So just imagine it. It's pretty cool. There's a close-up again of an echo blue with the little zigzags on the hind wing. But what I want to show you was check out the matching leggings and antenna. Isn't that cool? They just match like that with stripes on it. I don't know what the purpose is, but looks like he's getting ready to pop on out of the town. So point that out. Another famous blue we have in our area. I'm sure you've all heard of Fender's blue. And Fender's is a subspecies of the common blue or Bordeville's blue, and was almost extirpated from the Willamette Valley, except a lot of agencies got together and individuals and worked in bringing Kincaid's lupin back, which is the host plant. And it's being successful. You go out to the West Gene wetlands and you find the Kincaid on like the TNC property, and the blues will be there, and Fender's blues will be there. So this is a success story. And this was a video of the news clip they played on TV. I think it was the Register Guard maybe, had a news clip on it of the people involved, the BLM guy, who has done a lot of the restoration work for the Fender's blue. So blues, you know, they're beautiful on top, but look at this one underneath. The first time you see a Melissa blue underneath, it's just like, wow, that's some color. And see those little blue areas right on the edge of the orange? They sparkle in the light, they scintillate, and they sparkle like rhinestones or sequins. That they're kind of like sequins. Just gorgeous. Lupin blues, the eastern-tailed blues we have here, also the western-tailed blues. That was Mount Whistler. Another famous blue. The blues get all the spotlights tonight. This is Leona's little blue. And Leona's is named after Harold Rice's wife, Leona, who Harold discovered it. It's old. They have a little 11-acre habitat over near Chiloquin. And so this is a Oregon endemic. It's tiny. It's about the size of your little fingernail. It's the Oregon's smallest butterfly. There's the pygmy blue out there too, and they're about the same. But this is the smaller one. And we think, we're not real sure, its host plant is this furry buckwheat, but we think, we're not positive, that this butterfly's habitat may be the smallest in North America. There's no other butterfly out there that we know of or aware of that has this small a habitat. So it's just this 11 acres over there. And so there's multiple ownerships in the area, and a private timber company owns a lot of it. But by golly, these guys have said, no problem, we'll work with you on it. And so Neil Bjorklund, who many of you know, has been doing a lot of work on this, and we plan to go out and do a survey of Leona's at the end of June. So if any of you are interested in coming along, you're welcome to join us. It's hanging on. It's hanging on. And we're hoping it'll continue to hang on, even with logging operations and other things going on. It's just like, I'm worried that one big storm or a fire or something like this could wipe out the whole population. So we're just going to keep on monitoring it, and hopefully, cross our fingers and toes, and hopefully this little guy can hang on. So in the same group of gossamer winged butterflies are the hair streaks. Hair streaks are called hair streaks because they have this streak going down their wing about the width of the hair, and also they have two little tails. Not all hair streaks have tails, but most of them have two little tails sticking out, which they will rub back and forth like this. And we think it's a ploy for a predator to go after the tails and not the head. So that's why. But the tail is the tails are about the width of the hair too. So hair streak applies there. They come in green. I just got a text message from Amanda Egerton over in Sisters, and she went up on Green Ridge, she and her daughter Lucy, and found 15 of these in one place. Last year we went up there and we saw one and then it left and we never saw it again. She said, this is a hot year for the bramble green hair streak. Another see the tails, hair streak, gray hair streaks. This was taken down on Willamette Avenue, so you'll be likely to see these in your yard. Great purple hair streaks are here. They feed on oak mistletoe. They're a tropical looking butterfly, and if you see one when you're out, count yourself lucky because they're here and they're in the oaks, but they're not very common. If you find a little population of them, or even just one, call me. I have a butterfly hotline in my pocket here, so call me so we can go find it together. Elfins are also part of this group. They do not have a streak on their wings and they do not have tails. Well, they have little kind of nubbins at the bottom. So, but they're part of the same group. Brown elfin, Moss's elfin. I'd never seen a Moss's elfin until I moved here to Eugene. Went out to the North Shore Road, if you know where that is, North Shore, or it's also called West Boundary Road, where the seeps are along the rocks, and bumped into, it's funny, a guy came down in a pickup truck and, or was he driving a pickup? I think so, and opened up his window and he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking for butterflies. He said, you are? Anything in particular? And I said, well, I'd like to see a Moss's elfin because I know they're around here. I was with Lori Humphreys. And she said they're here. But we haven't found one yet. He said, well, if you just go around the corner and up about another 200 feet on that red seep, you'll find them. I said, oh, thank you. He said, they're just past School Creek. I said, well, that was nice. Were you just there? He said, yeah, I was taking pictures of them. And he had a big lens on his seat. And I said, oh, well, I'm Sue Anderson. I'm glad to meet you. Who are you? Oh, my name is John Sullivan. So now I know who John Sullivan. He's just as good a butterflyer as he is a bird. He's amazing. So that was nice of him to share that. But anyway, that's the Moss's elfin he introduced me to. So that's another library for me. Pine, Western pine elfins too. You'll find in the pines, especially where you have a saprophyte growing. Monarchs are just one species by itself in its class, and I'm going to talk about monarchs later. Now, the next group are called brushfoots, and you see where that line is pointing right at the very end of it. That's, well, first of all, how many legs does a butterfly have? 6, right. You catch one of these brushfoots like this, and you count the legs, you'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait a minute. This is weird. This butterfly only has 4 legs. Well, it actually does have 6, but the 2 are foreshortened into 2 little brushes up front. And I haven't read anything that explains why this evolutionary thing happened, but it did. And they have a purpose for it, I'm sure. And someday maybe they'll tell us. But we talk about the eyes too. Talk about cross-eyed butterfly. There we go. Brushfoots are almost always have a combination of orange, black, and white. And there are three ladies that we have. We have the painted lady, the American lady, and the West Coast lady. All, you'll find them all in the Willamette Valley. And then this guy is California tortoiseshell. And there are some years when we get calls on the phone saying, I just came over the pass and there were 1,000 monarchs and they're all over my windshield and grill and everything. Well, this is what they were seeing. They were California tortoiseshells, not monarchs. And they do go through boom and bust. They feed on ceanothus. And for some reason, we don't know why, there's after a fire, and ceanothus is starting to come back after a fire, that the tortoiseshells seem to be attracted to that region and area. And we don't know why, but they're just discovering, there's some kind of correlation with fire. But anyway, there are times, I do have a pair of binoculars, see, that there'll be hundreds of them along the trail. And this is up at Three Creeks Lake on the beach. And they were just all over the beach. And I believe they were mostly males and they were sucking up the minerals from the beach sand. And this is my other video. It shows one year when we were doing a butterfly count, all the tortoise shells were up there. We just looked at and said, okay, 50, 100, 150, 200, you know, they were just hundreds and hundreds of them up there, and they were on the mud and everything else. And kids were catching them by the dozens. So it was kind of fun. Now, in these areas where the tortoiseshells, they eat this, munch the ceanothus down to nothing. There's nothing left. Then they go into the chrysalis. They hang like Christmas ornaments all over the ceanothus plant. And then, well, even if there's not enough room on the ceanothus, they go to a nearby branch hanging down. And here they are hanging out like laundry on the branch. It's funny to see this. And then they decompose or emerge from the chrysalis. And whoops, this one did not emerge as a butterfly. This one decomposed wasps instead. So these are little parasitic wasps that sometimes come out of the chrysalis. But there were plenty to spare for this year. And commas or angle wings, they're very angled wings on them, or if you turn them over, they have a little white comma on the bottom. Commas, admirals will, they can also be called red admirables, which Bob Hyatt thinks they are. They will often visit you during a picnic and land on your shoulder, or if you're in their territory. They'll try to buzz you out. This morning cloak, I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. It's another butterfly that overwinters as an adult. And so on the first warm days in February, they will come out from under shingles or in your garage or under tree bark, and they come out and fly, and you go back in when it gets cold. This is a pretty fresh one because you can still see the blue and the gold on the wings. And otherwise, when they've been out for a while, they're all faded. But this one, you know, a sapsucker was working on this tree, and there was still sap oozing out, and so the monarch was in there just soaking it up. Free food. That's what their caterpillars look like, and they have cute little pink booties. Yeah. So here again, same pattern, orange, white, and black, or a Wilkins Admiral. And sometimes you see a whole bunch of these Lorquins up above, and when you come up close, they're feeding on bear scat. And they think that's pretty yummy. Up at where we saw that whole group, the video that didn't work, this is the picture I took of, let's see, in here, we've got a checker spot. Here's, I think that's a copper. Here's a bunch of blues. Here's some Lorquins Admirals. That might be a fritillary up there. And then here's a California sister that kind of looks like a Workman's Admiral, but it's got much bigger orange spots on the tips of its wing. And I caught it in midair. So I had to put that in to brag a little bit. I just got lucky. Again, orange, black, and there's a little bit of white there. These are getting into the checker spots now. Fabulously, look like stained glass windows underneath. Really pretty. Don't you love this name too? Great Spangled Fritillary. Wouldn't you like to go on a hunt for a great Spangled Fritillary? It's almost like the Great Purple Hair Streak. Again, notice what plant it's feeding on. Milkweed again. So Havatsky fritillaries. Fritillaries are the epitomaxes of the butterfly world. They are hard to tell apart, some of them. But if you're lucky and you've got one like this, then it's beautiful, silvery, shiny on the bottom, and that helps you narrow it down. And crescents, buckeyes, very rare. They're here. You might get to see one. They look like the peacock butterfly that you see over in Europe, in England. But, you know, when you see 6 eyes looking back at you like this, you know you've got a buckeye. Oh, beautiful butterfly. So we've only ever had 2 buckeyes on the Metolius counts in 35 years. And I think there were strays up there. And this kid found one of them. So he said, I found it. So, and then the last group are wood nymphs. And wood nymphs, this is called a ringlet. It's called a ringlet because it has a little ring on the forewing up there. Can't always see it, but most of the time you can see it. These are little grasshoppers. They just kind of bop around in your grass, especially in weedy areas. And they all have spots on them. So great place. And these wood nymphs come in small, medium, and large. And this is the medium size, Great Basin wood nymph. Not over here. That's over on the east side. That's a small wood nymph. And another one that'll just come and sit on your knee while you're having a picnic somewhere. Whoa. Where'd that come from? Okay, well, that slide that was just a white blank. It said test time. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, okay, test time. What butterflies are these? Wait a minute, no guesses? This is down there. Let's see, I was driving down Willamette, and let's see, in 1870, right around Willamette and 16th, the whole wall was painted with these. So somebody used the same template for all the butterflies and just painted them different colors. So we had to call them something, maybe whites and sulfur, something like that. Okay, how about that one? Speaking of driving around and seeing, yeah, and it's not a tiger swallowtail. No, it's a swallowtail, and it's not the Oregon. It's an anise, but it looks more like, because it's got too much yellow. It's not really true to species, because the Oregon swallowtail, which I think they were trying to draw here, the red spots don't go all the way around. Like halfway. So, and look, I think they put a few Fender's blues up there with the lupin. Here's the larvae. I don't know what that plant is. Does anybody know what? No, maybe it's the lupin leaves. No, that's not lupin leaves. I don't know. But if it's the Oregon swallowtail feeds on tarragon sage. So if that's tarragon sage, then they're trying to do an Oregon swallowtail. So I don't know. But it's pretty cool to see when you're driving into Springfield. Okay. White, okay, good. Okay. Yay. Count the legs. Yeah, this checker spot, but it's brushwood. Yeah, it's a brushwood. Okay. Star Street. Okay. Swallowtail. Painted Lady. This was on, do you know, Betsy and Jim Huffsmith? That's in her backyard. Here, over in the friendly neighborhood. She grew zinnias and she brought in these painted ladies. Okay, what's that one? Hey, Anglewing. All right. Good. Monarch. And wouldn't it? Would. Okay, good that. Oh, here's another one. Sulfur, right. Sulfur, blue. What did somebody say? I heard somebody say mom. Look at the antenna. No clubs on the end of the antenna. Okay, that was a trick question. Okay, the best way to learn your butterflies is really to go on a count, because you count butterflies over and over again, same species, all day long. By the end of the day, you know your butterfly. And so on June 15th, we're breaking up into groups and taking people who want to learn their butterflies out around Eugene and various areas to kind of get them acclimated and up to speed. And if you feel like you want to go on an official count, you can come with us. So we're doing 4 of them, one in the Ochoco's, one in the Metolius area, one in Eugene, and one up in Crystal Ridge. Well, I don't know if the Crystal Ridge is one that's going to go Iron Mountain, maybe up that area. So you just go out all day long. It's good to bring kids with you. This little guy started out 14 years ago like this. When his mom's gotten in, she brought him along. She wanted to come, so she said, Jimmy's coming too. There he is, just at the top there, graduating from high school with his buddies. Nowadays, how many teens would say, I'm going on a butterfly? But these guys stuck together. They came every year. So he just bought a motorcycle. He probably won't be coming on this count. But anyway, that was pretty fun. Taking kids along is great because they got a lot of energy. Sometimes I just set up my chair and say, go get them. And they go out and bring back butterflies in their nets. It's all catch and release. We don't collect anything. And I tell them how to use the net so we don't rough up the butterflies too bad. And, you know, they're willing to chase them half a mile down the road. They want to be like the Canadian Mounted Police. I want to get that butterfly. We stand on the sidelines and cheer them on. Go, go. And a lot of times they come back with it. We started our kids out early. It's our daughter Miriam with a little net. She was about 3 or so with her first net. And then when she got older, we gave her a big net, a big adult net. And she got pretty good at catching butterflies. There she is with her 2 boys. And that was about, at least 6, 7 years ago. And so she's still out butterflying. Here's the youngest one, no longer in contact. So, you know, this is a good time. Let's still do something. These are, well, it doesn't matter. This is a good time to talk about nets because there's the net and the anti-net 2 groups. And I do 99% of my butterflying with my close focusing binoculars. The only time I use a net is like on a count when we have to have all the species listed that we saw, and some of them they're just flying fast and they don't land, and they're on a mission to go someplace else. So we just snag them out of the air with a net and count them and let them go again. So, but it's all catch and release. So I believe it's okay to use nets occasionally for a good purpose. And when you take kids out with you, sometimes they're a little, I said, we caught this in your net. You want to see what it feels like to get tickled on your nose? And she said, oh, no. But all of a sudden, everybody was looking at her. And so she was the spotlight. And she said, it feels funny, but she said, it's cute. And of course, when you introduce children to butterflies at an early age, they've got lots of questions, they're curious, and they want to know what it's all about. Then when they get older, in their teens, butterflies are cool. They're not just something out in nature, they develop a love for them. Of course, they don't always come back with a butterfly. My grandson will pick up anything that moves out there. And then I said, don't get the nets in the mud or wet. Or sometimes they don't listen to you. So that's a drawback of taking kids with you. This is Leanne Krieg. On the back table are her two books, The Nature of Bend and The Nature of Portland. And she brought her draft to Jim and me and said, could you just read over this? And I read over it for her book. She's a great writer. And so she came on one of our accounts. I said, where are the butterflies? She said, butterflies. In, kind of a general field guide. I said, well, yeah. She said, I don't have any more room. I said, I'll tell you what, we'll just do the top maybe 20 species. Can you add a couple more pages? Okay, she did. And she did. She added, you'll see in those books, there's butterfly pages now. So, and I wrote the text for that. And, age doesn't have, don't let it hold you back. These gals were looking at a butterfly we put in an observation jar. And here's Mary Smith, who took a class from me. She bought the hat. She got a pin for the hat. She bought the t-shirt. And then when a butterfly landed on her finger, she said, this was the best thing I ever did. So she was a good birder too. She's gone out among the stars, but she was just thrilled to check out butterfly. Of course, this is also a time during midday when some of the older folks want to take a nap instead of chasing butterflies. My husband, Jim. So, iNaturalist, great way to post what you're seeing. Many of the newer phones nowadays, you can get right up close to a butterfly and take a picture, post it on iNaturalist. It'll be identified for you in case you didn't know what it was. And also, before you go out in the field saying, gee, I've never seen like a Malsa's elephant. And so you put in Malsa's elephant, it'll show you where all the sightings of Malsa's elephant have been recently. And who saw them? Everything you want to know. So it's a great tool and highly recommend it. Now, how do you get butterflies to come to your yard? Well, plant for them and they will come. So anything in the composite family will be great. Just put lots of natives, anything that butterflies would like to land on, or as a host plant or a nectar plant. So their host plants may be very narrow, but their nectar plants they can nectar on a lot of different things. Here's a butterfly caterpillar on a paintbrush. A monarch will feed on a clover, so plant shrubs. Here's one of my favorite. It's fern bush, and it puts out a distinctive smell to it. It's kind of like ceanothus or manzanita on a hot day, especially ceanothus. You get that aroma. Fern bushes do that. And Chamabateria from High Country Gardens, you can get this plant. So plant as many native plants as you can to attract butterflies. And this is a good place to get them. It's the Doe Creek Nursery. I'm sure some of you have been there. And she's really, really knowledgeable about pollinator attracting plants. So good person. You have to call ahead. So photographing butterflies. That is not a monarch, it's a viceroy that has it's got a line on its back wing. It says, I'm a viceroy, not a monarch, I'm just mimicking a monarch. So I'll be safe. Somebody won't eat me. So photographing butterflies, one way to do it is, when they have these traveling exhibits of butterflies, you can go there. This guy, this was too close for him to photograph with his long lens, but he finally, that's a good place to practice on your butterflies because they're all flying free around in this ideal paradise for them. And then you can get pictures of tropical butterflies like this doing that. Or you can spend a lot of money and buy an outfit like this. I think that's Rob Santry out photographing butterflies in the choke cherry. He just jumped right in the middle of that choke cherry. And he was after a great purple hair streak. He got it. So my friend Barbara, she gears up, binoculars, camera, sun hat, and she's got a little field guide and her belly pack, got a butterfly t-shirt on. She's ready to go. When I first started photographing butterflies, this was my results. So be patient. You'll get there. You just have to learn how to see them. Sometimes when you're out photographing butterflies, I thought, boy, that checker spot is kind of hanging there weird. And I got up close and you can see all the extra legs. Yeah, it's got a crab spider is grabbed it and is delivering the fatal flight right here. And so we both have to eat. Here's a big moth caterpillar. So sometimes you see stuff like this. I was out looking at the narrowleaf milkweed and I heard this, like this. And I thought, I know that sound. So I looked around and here's a big rattlesnake. But our rattlesnakes out here, they're not aggressive. So he was just fine with me moving on. Of course, this guy likes to pick up every snake that's there, and he'll pick up that rattlesnake. We found a dead, no, I don't think that's a rattlesnake, it's over on the road, and so we were laughing about snakes. So another good place for information on butterfly species is the website Neil Bjorklund put together, Butterflies of Oregon. And anything you ever wanted to know about the species that are here in Oregon, he's got on the website. So say, for example, you want to learn more about the Western tiger swallowtail because you think you saw one in your yard, but you're not sure if it was that or a two-tailed or Oregon. So you click on Western tiger swallowtail. Here's everything you wanted to know and better keys to identify them. So Neil also wrote up a blog on the Leonis Little Blue, its history and everything that he wanted to know about it. So he's a good writer. He's a good everything. So, okay, you'll need field guides out there. These two on the left are the best. The butterflies in the Pacific Northwest, Michael Pyle and Kate Bar. If you know Michael Pyle's writings or any of his other books, he's puts in a lot of little extras in there about where the name came from or something about his life history, or it's always interesting to read, almost like a novel. So get that. And then we in the North American Butterfly chapter, which we have in Eugene, it's called the Lane Butterfly Club, put out two guides. One is the Butterflies of Lane County. All the butterflies in Lane County are in that. Neil did that along with Marta too. And finding Lane County butterflies, if you just say, I want to go someplace a little bit unusual or different to look for some butterflies, it'll be in this book. And some of them are four-wheel drive roads, but finding Lane County butterflies. So all the places that he has been, he's put in this book. So those are two books together. I have some for sale on the back table at $20 a piece. Now, monarchs. Okay, here's a monarch laying an egg. Here's what the egg looks like. They're tiny, they one at a time, usually laid underneath the leaf. Caterpillars are very distinctive. They don't look like anything else. And they feed on milkweed. And then this one's going into the J shape for forming the chrysalis. Chrysalis is beautiful lime green with gold decorations around the top there. So just before he closes, it turns transparent. So you know it's imminent. And then, uh-oh, this one didn't make it. This caterpillar didn't make it because it was attacked by these wasps. And this is Rick's picture that he loaned me because he found this parasitism happening. And sometimes, I mean, that's a pretty juicy meal. So I could see why these wasps would go after it. But they're not very friendly. They've infested birdhouses, and they seem to be getting more numerous, right, Rick?
Yeah. Yeah, you have birdhouses that find these enemies in the birdhouse. I find it about that's the birdhouse like from there.
Yeah. European paper wasp. So okay, but this one, it goes just fine. Takes a while to pump up the wings, and then off they go. So would you like to see this in action? Live action, enclosure of a monarch butterfly. Here it comes. Here it comes. Get ready. Get ready. It's pulling out. It's pulling out. It's going to pump up its wings. Here it comes. Here it is. Wait a second. Wait a second. Now, I should pull this out first. Here's the caterpillar. Here's the chrysalis. Ta-da! Here's the... My family went to Puerto Rico and brought that back for me. Oh, Mama loved this. And she does. And they also brought me back this. And that somebody put all those little dots on there for paint from butterfly. So, okay, so we would take milkweed and put it on our, if we had an egg on it, and this is our dining room table. Yeah, we watched the whole process on the table. And then of course monarch would emerge, we put a tag on it with a number, and there's 56910. We never heard from that one again. Here's how the monarch migration works. I'm going to do a whole program on monarchs eventually, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But east of the Rockies, they go to Mexico. This is just generalizations. West of the Rockies, they go to California. Some sneak down to Mexico too. So there can be as many as 4 to 5 generations. And you can go down the natural bridges in the wintertime. That's near Santa Cruz on the beach there, the state park and visitor center. And you can see on a good year, you will see thousands of monarchs in the eucalyptus trees there. Now, this past year, it was a very poor year, only about 90. We had less than, a little more than 10% of the normal population. So both here and in Mexico. So there's a lot of different factors involved, you know, there's predation, there's climate change, there's storms, there's fires, there's everything. So it was a tough year for the monarch. So, but this is when you go to California, you can see they're all set up for the monarchs. There are a lot of different places down there. You can go sanctuaries. It won't look like this, but if you got the chance to go to central Mexico and observe this, do it because it is phenomenal, just phenomenal. So we, a teacher at the Sisters Middle School decided to do a unit on the monarch butterfly. They ended up with 2 chrysalids. They hatched them out in rearing cages, and they had 2 butterflies to release. And they named one Journey, and they put a tag on Journey. And months later, believe it or not, they let it go in just out there with a little celebration. We had cake and everything there and Sisters. And lo and behold, somebody observing monarchs way down here in Southern California spotted it. Oh. It had flown 800 miles to go down there. 800 miles. So they, the students were absolutely ecstatic that Journey made the journey. And what are the chances? What are the chances out of all the things that could happen to it, all the other monarchs out there, that this guy would discover it and da 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 da. And but Journey made it down there, and so the kids and the teacher and he wrote a book about it, and they surmised what it would have been like for Journey on his way down there. I mean, chased by a dog, you know, all kinds of things. And so they drew pictures and wrote up stories and everything like that. The book is on the back table if you want to take a look at it. So Sisters Middle School. So that was pretty cool. So what do people do to help the monarchs? Well, they're in trouble. One thing you do, this group is called the Great Old Broads. I don't think it's just a band group. I think it's a bigger group. Yeah. These four gals and some others went out and planted milkweed. Hundreds of showing milkweed plants. So they dug it. I mean, they put in hard work. Dug them out, planted them all, protected them all, watered them all. And that's what they did. So they put their elbow grease into helping a butterfly. Another place you can go see butterflies up close and see what they're doing to help them is the Butterfly Pavilion down at Elton, which is south of here. And Rick's been there. I'm going this summer. He loaned me these pictures. Elton Community Education Center. They're all set up for butterflies. They go inside. They're flying freely. You can see them. Probably the jays there and on the wall. And outside are hanging all the chrysalis. Ready to get our clothes and go. And they have a fabulous garden. So that's a good place to go. And I'm going to take a whole bunch of kids this summer. Right. And Becky's with us tonight. Becky Riley, of course, there at Razor Park, has planted lots of milkweed. So she's part of that same initiative, you know, to help the monarch by planting milkweed. And she collected a couple of eggs, actually 3 to these, and reared them out because, you know, there's wasps that come in. There's a lot of things that come in that can hurt the monarch. She said, well, I'm going to save 3. So she raised them up. And then on the day of release, her volunteers, here's one of them, reached in, grabbed a monarch, pulled it out and said, time to go. And instead of going up, he went over to another volunteer's hat and hung out for a while. He wasn't quite sure. He's just breathe. So anyway, he finally took off. And of course, I represent the vice president of the Lane County Butterfly Club. You can go to this website and it's on a piece of paper in the back. And no, I forgot this. Just look up, just Google Lane County Butterfly Club. You'll get to our website. Xerces Society, Monarch Watch. Here's on the Monarch Watch. You want anything, for example, you want to know how to plant milkweed. It's on there somewhere. How to plant milkweed. All right, in the middle. Monarch migration. Journey North is there's a whole bunch of volunteers who, when they see a monarch, they go to the website and they click on to say, I saw a monarch here at this location, and they can track the monarch migration as it goes along. So that's pretty cool. I would suggest reading this book, Bicycling with Butterflies. This gal rode her bike from the overwintering site in Mexico all the way to Canada and all the way back following the monarch migration. And she's a good writer. I mean, she talks about all the adventures she had, not just with butterflies, but she went 10,201 miles on the bicycle, recorded it. She took a laptop with her and recorded it and gave programs along the way. It's pretty amazing. And another book you need to read is this one, Nature's Best Hope. Fabulous book on how the importance of pollinators and how you can plant, why it's important to plant native trees, shrubs, flowers, and everything too. You can come up and look at these afterwards. So, hope you enjoy Well, better line with me.
That's great. That's good.
What?
That was wonderful.
Oh, good.
Hey, that was fantastic. I had great expectations and
Oh.
you went beyond, you were great.
And you
Thank
didn't
you.
expect this, a lot of.
Didn't expect that for sure.